What's up, Cardfighters? Clark here from Vanguard Central, coming at you with a Luard deck profile.
Stand up, Vanguard!
Alright, starting off with our starter, we have Drag Prince Root. So his skill is obviously Forerunner, Counterblast 1. Put this unit into your soul. When this card is retired from rear guard for the effect or cost of one of your cards, you can pay the cost. If you do, choose one of your units and it gets plus 5,000 till end of turn. So I use Root. I mean, granted, the CB is like not great sometimes, but there's no better starter. I tried the other Revenger starter that lets you look at the top card, place it on the top or bottom, and then draw a card, and it goes into soul, which is cool. But then it's 4K, and your opponents can easily just 10K no pass you in some situations. So I just thought Root is cool, and I need something to sack, obviously, until at grade 3. So he's just been putting in a lot of work, filling soul, fixing that issue for Luard. I know soul is a big problem, but Root is our starter. Onto our grade 3s, we have 4 Dragheart Luard, the new grade 3 from set 9. So skill is Ritual 3, active when there are 3 or more grade 1s in your drop zone. So you to stride, before your ride phase, you choose 2 normal units from your drop zone and put them on the bottom of your deck, and then if you do, you can stride. So you can pay the cost with Luard and then re-ride over him, in the meantime, and then stride. So that's another trick. But his on-stride skill is CB1, choose one of your rear guards, retire it. During your turn, when your G units stride, you may pay the cost. If you do, search your deck for up to 2 grade 1s or less. Call them to separate rear and shuffle your deck. So Luard is really good, to be honest. It's around 5 cards per turn that you're kind of taking out of deck when you're using the on stride, and plus your drive checks, assuming you don't hit draw trigger or draw with Swordbreaker or anything. So Luard, Ritual has just kept me in a bunch of games where I've lost, basically, because I don't have hand. So if I was playing any regular deck and I don't have any cards to stride with, Ritual has just kept me in those games. And so it's been definitely worth the time I've spent playing with this deck for around 3 weeks. So we run 4 Dragheart Luard, then 2 Lesser Dark Diablo. So we mix in the Diablo engine with this deck. I didn't really find any success with Claired Sword, any success with any of the other grade 3s besides Blaster Dark Diablo. So his skill is, when you're paying for cost of stride, you stride, you just toss anything basically, and it gets +3 for your fodder. And then the other skill is that on Dark Dragon Phantom Blaster Diablo, you choose one of your rear guards and retire it. So you get some of the Diablo cheese with the support of Luard. So it's just been overall successful, and you run 6 grade 3s in the deck. For grade 2s, we run 4 Drag Wizard Morfessa. So skill on Ritual 3, she gains plus 5,000 when it attacks a Vanguard. And then when this unit attack hits, you may pay the cost. If you do, search for up to 1 grade 1, call it from your rear guard, and shuffle your deck. And then in the drop zone, this card counts as a grade 1. So last week I was proxying because I only had 3 Morfessas, but now I have 4. And sometimes that proxy, that other grade 2, would be in the drop zone, and then I'd just think to myself, damn, I need the Morfessa to be there to count as Ritual. But luckily it didn't really change too much. I think Morfessa has been really good because of the consistent numbers it can make, because it's behind any 7K booster. It's 21 columns, and that's been a problem of Shadow, since they don't have really high hitting rears. So Morfessa is at 4. Then I run 4 Black Chain Flame Dance formation Hoel. So when your other grade 1 unit is placed on rear, if you have a Vanguard with Diablo in its card name, choose up to one of your vanguards, and that unit and this unit get +3 until end of turn. Then if the unit that was placed was Black Chain Spirit, Dance, Formation, Kahedin, Soul Charge 1, and Counter Charge and Soul Charge. So Howell and Kahedin have been like just stellar for the deck. It's been fixing like plays where if I call out Howell and then I have a Kahedin in hand and I only have like one CB open, I can unflip that extra CB that I need to restand with Spectral, or get that CB open, have extra CB just for later plays down the line. It's definitely enhanced the deck a lot. You just have to be a lot smarter with how you play everything, but Howell's been just fantastic for the deck. And then I run one Dark Knight Maiden Maka for the mirror match, and in case I need an extra rear guard, depending on the matchup, Maka is at 1. And then I run 3 Skull Witch in the main. I know the main is kind of crappy because of the 3k base, but her main utility is that like she gets to filter ritual for you and you get to draw 2 cards. Like, that's awesome. You just discard when it's placed. You counterblast 1 and then discard and then draw 2 cards. So it's definitely helped out a lot. I think out of 10 games, I've only had to really ride it like twice. I would say that'd be the statistic for it. Granted, if your opponent punishes you, you just got to take it and then just, do better in the later stages of the game to catch up. But Nemain has been really good. If it stays on the board, it's an intercept, and you can sack it with Luard. So, fantastic for the deck. Onto our grade 1s, we run 4 Dragsaber Eris. So this card is just ridiculous. Her skill is from the drop zone. It's an act. So choose one of your rear guards, retire it, and then if there's a copy of her, you put her on the bottom, and then you add the other one to hand. That's just really, really good. I've never had a PG that could do that. Just go back to deck and then go to your hand. There was this one game where I strode with 3 PGs, and then I had to do some ridiculous like ritual stuff. So I just called out the 4th PG that was like in my deck, and I was able to add 2 PGs to hand with ritual. So it's some pretty crazy shenanigans you can do. I don't think striding with 3 1s is ever really bad in this deck, just because you activate your skills and you're able to do a bunch of shenanigans. So 4 Eris, she's able to loop things too. She's just crazy, honestly. And then I run 2 Abyssal Owl for now. So the skill is on place from hand. You can search top 7 for a Luard, and then you have to discard for the same grade. So you'd have to discard like a 2 and a 1 or 3 1s, whatever you have in hand, or you can just discard the 3. But the best part about this card is that Ritual 3, when this unit is retired from rear guard for the effect and cost of your card with Luard, you can countercharge 1. So Abyssal Owl has just been the unflip engine for Luard at least. It adds to Kahedin and Howell, so you have 7 cards that can unflip essentially in this deck. So yeah, that's not bad. Or 5 cards. That's really, really good so far. And then I run 2 of the Knight of Red Flash Ferdiad, the full art common. When this unit is retired from rearguard for the effect or cost of your card, choose one of your units and it gets plus 5,000 until end of turn. I think this card is good. In some cases you can just give plus 5k to any of your rear guards, or you can give it to Vanguard, but it's very situational. I'd prefer to call out other cards instead, like another Owl, or maybe Kahedin, or Charon. I mean, depending on the situation, I never really find a crazy need for this card. But I mean, it's put in work. This would be the only card that's on the fringe, so I just need to do more testing, but otherwise it's been okay so far. And then I run 2 Black Pitch Sage Charon for the Diablo plays. Just make it as cheap as possible, since it counts as as 2 rear guards, right? Yeah, 2 rear guards for the ability. and you can search out for Blaster Dark Diablo with it if you need to, but you know, you never really do that. So Charon is at 2. And then I run 3 Black Chain Spirit Dance Formation Kahedon for the unflips, but also the on hit. So when it's retired, it gives plus 5k to the Vanguard, and then if your Vanguard hits, it gives plus 5k to whatever it called. So it's like really good on Diablo plays just to retire it, because it's your grade 1s are essentially like very toolboxy in this deck. That's why you can run like an absurd amount and it's like still be semi-effective, and then you just need to fine-tune out what you want and don't want. But Kahedon and, you know, the whole Diablo engine has made the deck very, very good and very efficient. And then I run 1 Swordbreaker, probably going to bump this up to 2, but 1 Swordbreaker for now. And then I run 1 Stride Fodder. I never thought like the fodder would really get to my hand as much as this one does, but it always finds its way to my hand if I have like a 3 already. So Braun just comes in whenever. I wish there was like a Luard Stride Fodder, that'd be cool, so I could search it out and stuff, but you know, we gotta do with what we got from Bushy Road, right? So these are the grade 1s. For our triggers, I run 9 crits, so there's one of those guys, 4 of the Cleric crit. It's going to change to the Owl crit, obviously, once set 10 comes out. And then 4 of the Revenger Undead Angel. And then I run 3 of the Howl Owl. To put into Soul, give something plus 3. The plus 3 is like whatever, really. It's just more about filling Soul in case you're in like a sticky situation, since you can call zeros with Luard's skill. But the Owl is just adding like extra consistency to the fact that you Soul Blast, like for our Geyser, for Luard, and for Spectral. So Howl Owl at 3. And defensive draw triggers are never bad. I always thought of running some stands, but I'd have to do more testing because this deck has been like already really successful. And then I run 4 of the Shiny Dog crit Flat Bow. Onto my G Guardians, I run only 3 Dark Dragon Plotmaker Dragon. So skill is that on Ritual 3, it gains plus 10k. So probably one of the easiest G Guardians and the best G Guardians in the game right now, I would say, because the cost is what fuels the deck, and you get easy 10k for nothing, so it stops anything under that, which is really good. And then, yeah, I don't find the need to run more G-Guards, just because you can recycle the PG, and I think that's like one of the strong suits of the deck, because you could recycle the PG and just use it a lot and a lot of times. And then offensive strides, I run 1 Air Element Sea Breeze. You know, I don't really like to get baited to use this, but if I see an opportunity to thin deck and win in that given moment, I will use Sea Breeze in case my opponent misrides. And then I run 4 of the Dark Dragon Phantom Blaster Diablo. Oh wow, this is nasty glare. For the skill of choose a face down, blah blah blah, same name, and then it gets plus 10k crit, and then if you retire 3, your opponent has to retire 2, or they cannot guard from hand. So obviously the Diablo cheese is really good, but this card puts down a lot of pressure on your opponent sometimes, because they just don't have like a G guard or anything like that to guard. And then I run 2 of the Dark Dragon Spectral Blaster Diablo for my restanding plays. Normally I just flip over a Luard with this card, but I really like restanding in this deck because, you know, getting a quad drive is never bad, especially when most of the units count as 2, so you could have like a full field and then just retire Charon, and it's like, cool, I have 2 extra columns to swing with after like a restanding play, so that's really good. And plus the amount of pressure is just ridiculous, so you have to run 2 in this deck or your like finishers aren't that great. And then I run 2 Supremacy Black Dragon Order Geyser Dragon In case I want to like change my tempo a little bit, I just want to draw some more cards. Our Geyser Dragon allows me to do that. I was thinking of switching it to Doomed. I would just have to see like how the testing goes, because I don't really like sacking 3 and then just hoping that the 2 cards I pull are grade 1s, even though I run an extra amount. But otherwise, our Geyser Dragon's been doing decent for the deck, at least, in case I like don't have any hand. And then I run 1 Carnivore Dragon. This card is like pretty broken, to be honest, because it forces your opponent to retire. They have like no choice to, and then if they don't have the 2 rear guards to retire, like say they just retire 1, you can just give 3 units in your front row plus 4k for free. So any like 7k grade 1 you don't care about, you just toss to the front and then use the skill and then give it plus 4k, but your opponent also loses a rear guard, so that's really good pressure. And for our last grade 4s of the deck, we have 3 Drag Driver Luard, the new guy. So I know you're wondering like, oh, why are you running 3 or whatever? Just because, I mean, for the playset there's not enough space, of course. But like some people think this card sucks. I definitely disagree with that. There's like a lot of potential with this card because you can make your grade 1s hit like ridiculous numbers. Obviously the soul is pretty conflicting, but that's why you use Spectral to unflip it like mid-game when you're doing your power plays. And so skill is that when this unit is placed on Vanguard, Soul Blast, and then unflip a name, and then for each copy you can call it grade 1 for the number equal to the number of face-up Drag Driver Luard in your G zone. Call it to separate rear, shuffle your deck, and for each grade 1 card you call, or for each grade 1 in your drop zone, those units get plus 1000 power. So normally my strat patterns go like Carnivore or Geyser, just depending on the situation, and then Spectral to unflip that, and then if I can win with Diablo or Drag Driver Luard, I'll do it. So but Drag Driver Luard just gives me like extra columns to hit with, like more power plays, so I really like that, and it thins deck. So yeah, I mean, I think this card is worth it, honestly, if used properly. Some people just use it at 2 and that's like super inefficient, I think. 3 or 4 is like really good. I mean, 4 you'd have to stride it like first, I think, to get the most out of it, or at least continuously stride it, so it takes out of like, you know, your plays for Spectral or for Diablo, depending on what you want to do, really. But I think this deck is great. Alright, I hope you enjoyed the deck profile. If there's any questions, comments, or anything like that, just leave them in the comments section below. Otherwise, the deck has been really fun to play. Honestly, it's awesome. I love Shadows. It's been my main clan ever since I started playing them. Really, I think Luard has a lot of potential to be into tier 1 and stuff like, and you know, maybe above. It just depends what Bushiroad gives them. The deck's like main really good points are like its ability to keep board nice and clean, plus off like retiring its own units, in a sense turn field into hand, obviously, but also it has like the best of both worlds, like restanding Vanguard, what's it called, a lot of hand, good defensive turns, things like that. I think it's also really good because you get to shuffle your deck a lot, so you're changing like triggers and whatever you get from drive checks or anything like that, so it's really cool. I love this deck, obviously, that's why I got a bunch of SPs for it. But otherwise, if there's anything that can make the deck better, let me know in the comments section below. But this is the build for now. Obviously, it will change in the future, but I hope you liked it. Alright, Vanguard Central out.